Hi, we're here today with one of our newest Arizona drag racing legends, Tanis Niver. And Tanis has probably got some of the best background and visions and views of racing that most of us would never have thought about, and the things she's seen and done, and quite a spectacular person she is, and she's going to share her stories with us today. So, how long this is Arizona drag racing legend? So we asked, how long you been in Arizona?
We moved here from Illinois in 1960,
Okay.
and I went to St. Mary's and Seton High School in Chandler.
So
And
you were right away. You were a Chandler girl.
That's right. And Seton High School is where I got my drag racing education.
How did that come about?
My best friend was Maureen Meyer, Larry Meyer's wife, and he was racing out at Beeline, and she decided one weekend that we needed to go and watch. So we went out there, and I was hooked.
So the car attracted you before the guys, before you were actually, because there's a guy. There's always the cars were the first thing that.
Exactly.
So
yes.
So
Just the excitement of it, and it was definitely something else.
What did you like? I mean, what was your favorite kind of cars back then? Anything fast or?
Anything that Larry was driving, I guess. I would have to say. I can't tell you the name of the car what kind of a car it was, because I don't remember it. But yeah, it just, and I liked the door cars, which is kind of unusual because I'm a dragster girl from way back. But yeah, I liked pretty much everything.
You went to the races, and that was pretty much your social, a big part of your social gathering was like going to the races.
Once I got out of high school, yes. And I met Jim West, and we got married, and he had all kinds of cars, and it was.
You were a drag racer's wife.
That's right.
But you also supported him, and
yes, yes, I
there
did.
So how? Tell us more about Jim West.
Well, he was unusual, to say the least. He raced a funny car. He raced with Johnny and the Altered, and that's really about all I can really say about Jim. He was a good guy most of the time.
Die-hard racer.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you still love racing.
Yes, I did. Yes.
And you moved along in life, and you met somebody else.
I did. I met Mark Niver.
And there are not enough good things that we can say about Mark.
No, that's for sure.
Period. He was very few people like him.
Yeah, that's.
As far as his capabilities and all his likes. So, how did you meet him?
He worked at Dynamic Machine, which is where my ex-husband worked, and he was a drag racer. So I met him out at the track. I met him out at Beeline, and it was all history from there.
So a lot of us knew Mark. Not to say that we didn't envision him finding the love of his life. You had somebody that was loved what he did and
yes.
supported him like that. But he was definitely focused on
exactly
anything mechanical.
That's right.
A very creative person. He can, build a lot of his own parts. I think there's a few of them like him in Arizona. Johnny
right.
West would be another person along the way that needed something that would create stuff. But Mark was probably the guy that showed a lot of people you could build a car from the ground up.
That's right. He did. He built 2 sets of heads while I was dating him, and I would go over to his house on Friday and Saturday night and sit in the shop and just help him clean up or whatever afterwards. But I watched him build those 2 sets of heads, and then he built a rear end, and he he would put his own cars together, and then we had a good friend that was a welder, and he would come over and weld them. But yeah, he built his own cars, and he built a lot of the parts on them too. And he sold a lot of parts to different racers too. He never really did ever try to get into the business of selling parts to racers, but he has quite a few things out there yet.
He created something out of his own need, and other people would see what he did and
I want to buy one.
want to buy one. So that created a customer.
Yes.
So in all this time, the drag racing wasn't. It was still his. You could probably say he's about Mark as serious as he got about it was still his passion.
That's right. It was, and it was both of our passions. We raced just the two of us for a long time, and he still had the Donovan, and I would help him pull it apart and help him put it back together and clean the parts up and just anything that needed to be done around the pits there. And it would usually take us most of the night to tear everything down and put it back together, and then we would go to bed and get up and race and do it again.
And you had a great time doing it.
Oh, I did. Yes, I loved it.
The important thing is that one thing that's in being the father of two daughters that are very, very car savvy.
Yes.
But the thing is I always like it. You weren't afraid to get your hands dirty.
No.
You could trust you to. It wasn't like you were actually his co-crew chief to say.
Exactly.
And you did a lot of stuff on the car, and you learned it well, and you probably enjoyed the satisfaction of seeing it all bolt back together and go down the track.
Yes.
So, Mark raced Top Alcohol Dragster.
Mm-hmm.
He raced for a while with Johnny Loper.
He did. He drove the Top Fuel car for a very short amount of time. He quit when they sent him down the track without brakes. And he got to the end and he said, "Okay, I'm done with this." He just
that would probably wake me up.
Yeah.
Have my full attention.
Yeah.
He stayed at it. I mean, he raced for a while before he was always competitive.
Yes, he was.
And we always knew him because he didn't want to have decals on his car.
That's right. Yeah, he said, "Well, I paid a lot of money to have this painted, and I don't want to stick a lot of decals on it."
And it was really rare. I mean, later on we saw a couple decals on the car, but not a lot. And
No.
that was the uniqueness of Mark. He was his own guy.
Yeah, that kind of happened because we were going into the finals or the semis, and I said, "You know what? We could make a lot more money with this car if you'd put a few stickers on it." And he said, "Okay, just a few."
So
and
that's when you became more of the business manager that day.
Yes.
Don't leave the money on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
So when was his first national event win?
Topeka, 2008. My favorite race. It was so hot and humid, and the car was just flying. It was really cool. He beat everybody by a substantial amount, and that was our first race, our first win.
What does it feel like, and I wish he was here today to share this with us, but what does it feel like when you get that first walleye?
Oh, let's see. It was just unbelievable. It was so exciting. It was just one of those things that I don't know if I could describe how it feels. It just made you so happy and so excited.
And we'll try to get a picture of there's a picture posted this week on Facebook of winning him when the trophy
Yes.
was his head sideways.
Yes.
It's almost like he has a man crush on the trophy.
Yeah.
I love it. And what we're going to do is we'll pop it up here in the video so people can see that. But
Okay.
that must have been a spectacular day.
It was.
How long did it take? I mean, you must have been on cloud nine forever for having the first win. When did the next win come?
The next national event that we won was in Seattle, and that was, maybe a month later.
So
maybe
you're on a
3
roll.
weeks. Yeah.
And Mark started beating people.
Yeah, he did.
I seem to remember from the Topeka thing that Mark was so gracious that he apologized to Chris Demke for putting a whole shot on him.
He did that to a lot of people.
Yeah. But he apologized.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I remember Mark back in the Beeline days of, with the Gene Rickard in Buffington
Yes.
in the Top Gas dragster, and how noisy that thing was, and I was so impressed. That's my first time is actually seeing him, and even then he was like a drag racer.
Yes, he
You
was.
know, he really in the good sense of being a drag racer. He won his fair share of divisional races as well. Was
Yes,
a
he did.
contender.
Yes.
Is there do you still go to the races when you can?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I kind of keep up with just friends,
Mm-hmm.
Jay Payne and John, and I just follow a few people. But no, I don't go to the races very much anymore.
So when we lost him, it was kind of like the day the music died for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Very few people in Arizona. You know, when we lost Tripp was kind of the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Tripp Shoemake. There's people that everybody loved.
Yeah.
He brought a lot of happiness to people. You had to have something to fulfill that urge for competition. So I understand you're a big Phoenix Suns fan.
I am. I'm a
your
huge
smile.
basketball fan. I've had season tickets for 14 years, and this past year was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. My sister and I have been going together for 14 years, and that was very, very exciting.
So does that help fulfill the need for excitement and something that you're going to get in behind?
You know, I guess it does. I really hadn't thought about it that way, but it does. It does, yeah. I like the competition of it, and I especially like our team.
So, along the way with Mark, you know, he had a lot of people. You know, a few people help him. And who were the key people that, if you were to say thank you, you want them, you know, we want to remember them for you know, who was there?
I would say Johnny is one of the biggest ones.
Johnny West.
Yeah, he got a lot of help from John Loper, Senior, and well, that's really about all I can remember is those two. He just did everything on his own. He liked being shut up in the shop and working on his stuff and putting it all together.
There were times when the shop was open, and there were times when it was shut, and he'd be in there when it shut.
Pretty much, yes.
And people kind of knew.
You know, I think everybody else was out either racing or doing something else. He would have welcomed anybody to come in, but he was kind of a loner.
He's an innovator.
An innovator, exactly. Yeah, I say a loner, but his favorite part of the drag races was going around and talking. He knew everybody. He knew all of the pros, and he knew all of the alcohol dragster people and the funny car people. We would get done with the car, and it was our rule that nobody gets beer or has dinner or anything else until the car is done and it's in the trailer.
No silver bullets till the racing was
That's
over.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And he didn't drink the silver bullets. He drank the gold ones.
Yeah. That's right. He was the banquet guy.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes, he
absolutely.
was.
That's right. Sorry about that. Yeah,
Yeah, no problem.
That's important because most everybody switched over, and he was like,
I
"Bold,
know.
he's gonna
Oh,
drink
no.
the fully leaded one." Yeah.
Well, he was so tall and thin that he could drink the
Yes.
leaded ones, and the rest of us were putting on a little bit of weight.
Well, one thing we know for sure, he was respected by a lot of people, and that's why he had those friendships.
Yes.
Many times at races when you'd be on the starting line, you couldn't hear all the gracious things the announcers would say about him.
Oh,
About
that's true.
His ability to build the car, what he did, his own engineering, and then and if there was a co-announcer or a racer coming in, I never heard anybody anywhere ever say anything disparaging about Mark Niver. And
I never have
you should
either.
Be very proud of, and you were a big part of that.
Well, thank you.
And for those wins, and you supported them, and and what you did, you were the circle of trust, as they say.
Yeah.
It's important to know that people like that are not forgotten, and that's a big part of you being here today. It's not only honor you, but definitely Mark Niver is
absolutely.
a big time legend as well. And
Yes.
we wish we could be here to interview him, but
Exactly.
you're
Me
here,
too.
and your love for him here comes through, and we really appreciate you being here today. Is there anything else you want to part with, or just
Well, no, not really.
go Suns?
Yeah. Exactly. Go
Okay,
Suns.
Go
and
Suns.
Yeah.
We'll get it next year, right?
You got it.
Okay. Well, Tanis, thank you very much for being an Arizona drag racing legend, self-earned and well-deserved. And thanks for sharing your memories of Mark with us as well today.
Okay, thank you very much for having me.
Okay.